What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Freddie Roach. Freddie Roach was being interviewed, and he was asking about the boxing landscape as of now, and he came out with something on his mind. He said that he is tired of people saying that Vasyl Lomachenko is number one pound for pound. And they asked him, well, who do you think is pound for pound? And Freddie Roach said that Terrence Crawford is number one pound for pound. And number two belongs to Errol Spence Jr. And that's his reasoning on the reason they need to fight. Simply because they're the two best fighters in the world, number one and number two. And he would like Loma to fight Manny Pacquiao. Okay, well, those are the words from Freddie Roach, and I'd have to disagree. I agree partially and disagree partially, right? Terrence Crawford is the number one pound for pound. I have to agree with that, simply because he's done more than any other fighter in the sport. He is undefeated. He's a champion. He stopped the last three people he's fought. He's got 2 ring magazines. He's cleaned out 2 weight divisions. And he's going for the 3rd weight division. He is doing a Thanos in retrospect for the boxing landscape, if he can. If the politics that be will allow him to do so. I believe he can do it. As far as Freddie Roach saying that Errol Spence is number 2 pound for pound, I would have to disagree. On what grounds? Why? Who have you beat to become number 2? You know, the question to ask Freddie Roach is, who was number 2 before Errol Spence was there? You see what I'm saying? Like, Errol Spence beat up a smaller fighter on his last fight. A smaller fighter coming up 2 weight classes, and that's Mikey Garcia. Was Mikey Garcia number 2 pound for pound? No. He might have been number 4, number 5. So even if he was trying to argue that Mikey Garcia beating him made him number 2. Okay. I would have to disagree because Mikey Garcia was never at number 2. You know what I mean? Of course, there was a time that he could have fought Lomachencko to become maybe number 1 and number 2, regarded as that particular person, but he was not. He never fought that person. He decided to fight the bigger man, and a good big guy will always beat a good little guy, and we've seen that. Okay? And now we found out that he was carried the whole time, so we really don't know how good Errol Spence is. All right? Because Errol Spence said one thing on the show, wishing for a knockout, and then on the face-to-face show, he said that he was carrying him. So we don't really know what Errol Spence was trying to do. Okay? I can say this. Errol Spence, he's on the pound-for-pound list. I would give him number 6 or 7. Nowhere near the top 5 yet. Okay? That's where I would disagree with Freddie Roach. But of course, Freddie Roach has his own agenda. And I think he doesn't like Loma because, you know, he's tired of the press that Loma's getting. His fighter has just beat an undefeated fighter that in Keith Thurman, while Lomachencko fights Luke Campbell and, you know, other fighters in a lower weight class. But it's hard to really distinguish who's best for Lomachencko because Lomachencko needs to fight these top guys to be considered still on that high echelon of fighters. Okay, he has a busy schedule, so we have to see what Loma's made out of next year because something and someone is coming for him, right? But as far as Errol Spence, no, I'd have to disagree. And Terrence Crawford, I'd have to strongly agree. You know, a lot of people are shocked at what Freddie Roach is saying. Freddie Roach is tired of the hype of Loma, you know, and it serves him right. It would make perfect sense for him to say that about Loma, especially if he wants his fighter, which is Manny Pacquiao, to fight him. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, to say the least. But I feel that he is 50% right. Terrence Crawford is still number 1 in my book. You know, maybe Canelo Alvarez. And Canelo Alvarez would be over Errol Spence if that was the case. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I don't even see what grounds would he put Errol Spence there? Errol Spence has a tough fight with Sean Porter. And he tells Sean Porter that Errol Spence will destroy him. We got to see. Those are some bold words coming from the Hall of Fame trainer, Freddie Roach. You guys tell me what you think about this particular video. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.